Gary Busey's fall from Hollywood maverick to courtroom defendant. Welcome to Behind the Crime, where true crime meets real life. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Let's uncover the truth, one case at a time. Now let's see today's story. On an otherwise ordinary weekend in August 2022, the Monster-Mania con was alive with the thrill of nostalgia. Fans dressed as their favorite horror icons, vendors hawked collectibles, and a steady stream of B-list celebrities sat at signing tables, greeting admirers willing to pay for a moment of connection. Among them was Gary Busey, the once Oscar-nominated actor turned cult icon. Known as much for his manic energy and wild persona as for his performances in films like The Buddy Holly Story and Point Break. But the light-hearted event in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, took a dark turn. By the end of the convention, police reports were filed. Women alleged that the 81-year-old actor had crossed boundaries, groping and touching them in ways that were neither invited nor appropriate. What should have been an autograph signing weekend of fandom turned into the beginning of a criminal case that would. Months later, see Busey in a virtual courtroom, pleading guilty to criminal sexual misconduct. The incident marked a dramatic chapter in a life already defined by turbulence, near-death experiences, Hollywood highs, and devastating personal lows. And in September 2025, that journey culminated in a sentence: 2 years probation for the veteran actor. Now frail but still polarizing, from Buddy Holly to Hollywood's edge long before his name was trending for legal troubles, Gary Busey was hailed as one of the most promising actors of his generation. His breakthrough came in 1978, when he earned an Academy Award nomination for his electrifying portrayal of rock and roll pioneer Buddy Holly in The Buddy Holly Story. Critics praised his raw energy, his uncanny resemblance to the singer, and his ability to disappear into the role Hollywood, it seemed, had found its next great character actor. Over the next decade, Busey became a familiar face in action films, thrillers, and cult favorites. He shared screens with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon, surfed into cinematic legend in Point Break, and carved out a niche as the unpredictable, slightly dangerous supporting star. But behind the scenes, the same intensity that fueled his performances began to spiral. By the mid-1980s, Busey was battling addiction, cycling through cocaine binges and erratic behavior. Friends and colleagues describe him as magnetic but volatile, capable of brilliance but equally prone to chaos. The 1988 motorcycle accident on December 4, 1988, Busey's trajectory changed forever. Riding his motorcycle in Los Angeles without a helmet, he lost control and crashed. The accident left him with a fractured skull and severe brain trauma. Surgeons fought to save his life, and he survived, but the consequences were permanent. Busey would later speak openly about how the traumatic brain injury altered his personality. Friends and family echoed that sentiment. His son, Luke, told The Hollywood Reporter that after the crash, his father was no longer the same man. At 17, I had to teach him with my mom to talk, to eat, to feed himself, to walk again, to write. That was very difficult for me at that age. The post-accident version of him turned his personality up to 11. I feel like I lost my dad on December 4, 1988. What emerged was a man with fewer inhibitions, a sharper edge, and a reputation for unpredictable outbursts. Hollywood tolerated the eccentricities for a time. His quirks made him a scene stealer. But as the years passed, the accidents, arrests, and controversies piled up. Busey's brushes with the law predated the Monster-Mania incident. In 1995, he faced drug charges after a near-fatal overdose left him hospitalized. The once celebrated actor was reduced to tabloid fodder, mugshots, court dates, and lurid headlines. In 2011, while participating in Donald Trump's reality series Celebrity Apprentice, Busey was accused of sexually assaulting a female employee. Though the case did not move forward in court, it added to the growing narrative of troubling behavior. He was also arrested on suspicion of spousal abuse, further cementing his image as a man both dangerous and deeply troubled. Each headline chipped away at the public's memory of the Oscar-nominated actor who once stood on the precipice of Hollywood greatness. By the 2010s, Busey had become a fixture on the celebrity convention circuit. These events, horrorcons, pop culture expos, autograph shows, provided steady income for aging stars no longer drawing major paychecks from Hollywood. Fans lined up to meet him, often charmed by his eccentric mannerisms and unpredictable banter. To some, Busey was a living legend. To others, he was a curiosity, a Hollywood relic transformed into meme material, a personality larger than his dwindling roles. But it was in this space, meant to celebrate fandom and community. That the 2022 allegation surfaced, the setting could not have been more ironic, a horror film convention, where fictional scares became reality for several women who said Busey groped them. According to reports, multiple attendees filed complaints with Cherry Hill Police, describing inappropriate touching that occurred during meet and greets. Police charged Busey with 2 counts of 4th-degree criminal sexual contact, 1 count of attempted criminal sexual contact, and 1 count of harassment. The charges shocked fans and convention organizers alike. What was supposed to be a safe environment for fandom had, for some, become a space of violation. When news broke, Busey quickly denied the accusations. Speaking to TMZ in 2022, he dismissed the reports as fabricated. "None of that happened," he said. "There were a partner, a camera lady, and me and 2 girls. It took less than 10 seconds, and then they left. Then, they made up this story that I assaulted them sexually, but I did not." Despite his protests, prosecutors pressed forward. For months, the case wound its way through the New Jersey courts. Then, in July 2025, a plea agreement was reached. Busey pleaded guilty to 1 charge of criminal sexual misconduct. In exchange, the other charges were dropped. On September 18, 2025, Busey appeared virtually before the court for sentencing. Gone was the brash Hollywood bad boy. At 81, he appeared weary, his once imposing presence diminished by age and time. Judge and prosecutors agreed to a sentence of 2 years probation. Busey would not serve jail time. He was granted 45 days to appeal and to request that his probation be transferred from New Jersey to his home state of California. Afterward, his attorney, Blaise Willman, issued a statement to the New York Times. Mr. Busey is pleased that the case has been resolved and that he can go on with his life without any continuing daily public adversity. The decision sparked debate. Some argued that Busey's celebrity status shielded him from harsher punishment. Others noted his age and declining health as mitigating factors. But the sentence ensured that his name would forever be linked with misconduct, his legacy permanently stained. To understand how Gary Busey arrived at this moment requires looking beyond the headlines. His life story reads like a Shakespearean tragedy: talent, triumph, downfall, and the cruel weight of time. The motorcycle crash as turning point. The 1988 crash looms large over every chapter of his post-accident life. Neuroscientists have long studied how traumatic brain injuries alter impulse control, emotional regulation, and personality. Busey himself admitted that the accident freed him from the constraints of social filters. What may have been charming eccentricity in Hollywood interviews sometimes manifested as troubling behavior in private. His son Luke's reflections underscore the human cost. The transformation of a father into someone unrecognizable. The grief of losing a parent to an injury rather than death. After his overdose in 1995, Busey publicly embraced sobriety and spoke about finding spirituality. He often described near-death experiences and encounters with the divine, framing his survival as part of a larger cosmic plan. Yet sobriety did not erase the erratic behavior. Instead, it layered his persona with mysticism and unpredictable outbursts that kept audiences both entertained and uneasy. Busey's case raises broader questions. How do we reconcile an artist's contributions with their personal failings? Should age and health alter how we judge criminal acts? What does it mean when beloved cultural spaces like conventions become sites of trauma? For victims, the answer is simpler. Justice is about recognition and accountability, even if the punishment feels light. For Busey, the answer remains complicated. His fans may continue to celebrate his past roles, but the shadow of his later years will never be erased. The story of Gary Busey's sentencing is not just a celebrity scandal. It is a narrative of decline, of a man who once stood on the Oscar stage, now reduced to a virtual courtroom appearance. Pleading guilty to misconduct at a fan convention. It is also a cautionary tale about fame, accountability, and the fragility of legacy. At Monster-Mania, a place meant for celebration of horror's fictional monsters, real-world fears intruded. And for Gary Busey, the monster was not in a mask or on a screen. It was within, the darker impulses, unchecked by age or circumstance. That turned a moment of fandom into a criminal case. As the credits roll on this chapter of his life, one truth remains: Hollywood's maverick has become its cautionary ghost, a reminder that talent does not excuse behavior, and that even legends are not immune from the weight of accountability. Thank you for staying through to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to MY channel now, and also